Hey guys, welcome to Savvy Sesh. I'm Lena McKechnie from Savvy Cake Sydney. Today I am talking to Liz Wright from the ACDN. Hey Liz, how you going?
Hi, good.
So you are I've known you for a few years now, and we've kind of done some work together here and there, and still continue to do so. What ACDN now is 10 years old, is that right?
Yep. So it's our 10th birthday at the end of March. So March 2022 will be 10 years old.
Yeah, that's amazing. So how have you seen it? Okay, so firstly, I should ask you what prompted you to start the ACDN?
So I started ACDN 2012, and I had been running my cake decorating business in Canberra for several years prior to that. And then I had my first two children who were twins, and they were, I think, about 9 months old when I started ACDN. Hello, fellow twin mum, Lena.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was still running my cake decorating business while I was trying to look after two babies, which, as you can imagine, was not a great idea. It wasn't working very well. And there wasn't a lot of support out there at the time. Obviously, I found it really hard, the baking side. I'd put the kids to bed at 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd have to start baking a wedding cake. So I started thinking about something that I could do online that would probably work a bit better around my family. And at the time, like, Facebook groups weren't even really a thing then. I don't think that even sort of started. It was a very new thing. There weren't any support groups for cake decorators. I mean, there was the CWA type groups and I guess the associations, but nothing online. And I guess sort of targeting the younger generation of cake decorators and cake artists coming through. So I thought I would start a Facebook page, just, something to do. I was up one night feeding my twins at about 2 o'clock in the morning. I had this idea. I'm going to start, had the name, came up with it, started the Facebook page. And it's just sort of grown from then. I think people, I guess, realised was in the same position as me and realised that they did want somewhere to connect online and network with other decorators and bakers. And it grew crazily. Like these were the days of the good old Facebook and Instagram, probably before Instagram, but good old Facebook when the algorithms worked in our favours, not against us. So I think I would wake up and, days I'd have, 2,000 new followers and things like that. That was crazy. Yes, the good old Facebook days when it was easy to grow a Facebook page.
Yeah, that's right. I remember the old cake forums that I used to be a part of, and you'd have to, and the old Essential Babies. You remember that style forum where you'd have to go type your question in. So
I actually started ACDN. I remember you from the Planet Cake Tea Party forum.
Yeah, that's where I was. That's where I got all my recipes.
Yep. And that forum shut all of a sudden overnight, as you'd know.
Yep.
And then there was sort of just big hole. And that's sort of where I also got the idea that we needed something. So I thought I'd start my own.
Yeah, absolutely. And look at it now. So how have you seen it grow? I mean, obviously now there's so much more on offer that comes out of the ACDN. What's probably your favourite bit of what you do now?
The favourite part about what I do now is definitely the business side of it. So the Baking Business Lounge, which obviously you know that because you're a part of it. Every month we have workshops relating to running a cake decorating baking business. That all started at the start of COVID. I should go back a step. For many years we had in ACDN just the membership side, so the social membership, the ACDN membership. And then started doing a few events, cake crawl, cake camp, which I know you've been on, trips overseas. So it was really focused around the social side and the networking side of, being a cake decorator or a baker. But there wasn't a lot on the business side of running a business. And I knew that we do have members from both sides. Some are hobbyists and some just love it, for the love of cake, and some are running it as their business. So when, I guess, everything started with COVID, it was really obvious to me that people in our industry did need some support from the business side of things. And that's when I started the Business Lounge. And I guess got into more of the online learning, and now our new course, the Start Your Baking Business course. That's the part that, I love all of it. I love the events, which it's been a shame that we haven't been able to do them lately. That's probably my favourite part, running events. But until that comes back, I do love the business side of it. So helping other people to grow their baking businesses and make them profitable and sustainable and enjoyable. And I guess just get those small business skills that a lot of people are lacking because it's not sort of really taught anywhere. Like it's not taught in school unless you go to uni and learn business, or you've, had that first-hand experience of running a business or seeing your parents do it or anything like that. It's kind of something that you just make up, in my case, make up as you go along. And I just know that I would have loved something like that to help support you through that, to make your baking business successful. So yeah, that's what I'm really enjoying at the moment.
Absolutely. And I think because
seeing everyone, a lot of our members, when they join the Baking Business Lounge, they'll have just started and not sort of know what they're doing with the pricing and don't have terms and conditions set up, and just sort of seeing people go through that process and become a really solid business is, really rewarding for me.
I think particularly when it can be quite isolating too, if you're not someone who's got a shop and is serving customers every day and got staff, you're on your own. Like I've done 10 years too this year, or last year, November, and quite often work with earphones in, chatting away to someone during the day just to have someone to talk to pass the time away. So I think having that network too of people who are going through the same sort of thing and that you can talk to, exactly. And especially with the live stuff that the groups are now doing, like the live classes that I know that you do in the business lounge, you can go, oh, that's such and such. So you can kind of put a face to the name. And then when you do have events, you know who you're looking at when you see them in person, and you know that, they're a real person, not just some online friend that you're never going to meet. So I think it's awesome. So I can't really ask you cakey type questions because it's been so long, obviously, since that you run a cake business. Do you remember any cake fails though that you used to? Oh,
totally. Yeah, I've had a few cake fails, that's for sure. Hasn't everyone? Are you a business until you've dropped a cake or you've forgotten an order? I would hope now that I'd hope now I'm more organised than I was then. I was, juggling little children and probably not really doing it wholehearted. I was, juggling a few things at the time and working full time and then having children, and it was sort of always, I guess, on the side for me. I think now if I was doing it full time, I'd be a lot more organised and structured, which I am now. But I've certainly had a couple of cake fails. One in particular, I remember it was a wedding cake, a cake and then cupcakes, and she'd changed it was like something hideous. It was about 12 years ago, so it was pretty ugly. Purple and pink and green flowers, and I don't know, like really, early 2000s wedding. I think it was like purple icing with green and pink flowers or something on these cupcakes. Anyway, so I had that set in my mind. It was purple icing, green and pink flowers. And then, of course, a week before the wedding, she changed it to green icing with purple flowers.
Oh, my God.
I didn't write it down. I thought, I remember that. Sure, whatever. So I'm making these, and then she was really adamant it had to be the new one. Anyway, so I'm driving to the venue, and just all of a sudden I thought, I have done it purple icing, green flowers, not green icing, purple flowers. So I raced home, scraped off all the icing, quickly did more buttercream, put it on. I was on time still, but then I raced out, heading down the highway to deliver these cupcakes, and came around a corner and there was a truck there, and it had just, I don't know, blew a tire or something. I came around the corner, I slammed on my brakes. These cupcakes flew everywhere. And I was so dumb. Like, I had them on the back seat of my car, which is like the first thing you tell everyone not to do, right? I was in a hurry, just chucked them in the car. So then not only had I mucked up the first colour because I didn't have my processes set up properly, I didn't write it down, but then I flung them all over the car. So then I had to go back home again, and thankfully I had some spare ones. Anyway, I got there just in time. But there's nothing worse than setting up when you know that the guests are about to arrive and you're still putting cupcakes on the stand. That was probably my worst one. Learnt lots of lessons from that. Yeah,
and live to tell the tale. And we can laugh about it today, but I'm sure at the time you weren't laughing.
At the time, oh my God.
No.
Nightmare.
So in terms of, so you've obviously met a lot of cake people in the last 10 years since setting up the ACDN. I know that you have, brought out different teachers and things like that, and done amazing classes and gone on tours of the UK and New York, and we won't talk about the last one because it didn't happen.
The last one that COVID ruined and we didn't get to do, yes.
We didn't get to Los Angeles yet, but we're still going.
It will happen.
who is your ultimate, like, if you could pick the brains of a caker or have lunch with a cake decorator, or someone that you look at every single bit of their work and you just gush over it? Is there someone like that you just go, oh my God?
It's a really hard question for me because
things move really fast too.
Yeah. There's a few people, there's lots of people. I mean, the talent in Australia is insane. We have some amazing cake decorators and bakers here. I would say that I'm extremely envious of Sachko Winville from Mimi Cafe Union. She has talent like I've never seen, in terms of, like, you can give her a picture of something and she'll make it out of modeling that looks exactly the same. Like, that is a skill I don't think I'll ever be able to learn, no matter how many of her classes I've done. Another person that I absolutely love her work is Liz from Inspired by Taste. Inspired to Taste? Inspired by Taste? Inspired to Taste, I think it might be. She's in LA, and we were going to go and see her on our LA cake crawl that COVID ruined. But she does the most amazing, amazing cookies. I think her work is incredible. In terms of who I'd love to pick their brains, well, I'd just love to transfer Sachko's brain into mine and have that creative. She's so creative. She just, I don't know. I mean, she does teach classes and the results are amazing, but there's just something about her work that's, I don't know that I'd ever be able to learn that.
Yeah. There are some that you can't emulate. Like, no matter how many classes that you go to, you can't.
Yeah.
You can put your own spin on it, but it just still won't look like theirs, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, when I was editing the last issue of our cake magazine, we've got 2 tutorials in there. One is from Tash, who Cookies by Tash, and she won our Rising Talent award at last year's awards night. Her cookies are awesome. So she does these really cool, like, layered effects on her cookies. I thought that was really, really clever, the way she does that. It's very creative. And the other, one of our members, actually, who won the Cupcake Artist of the Year, and she also features in our magazine that's just been released, is Maria from Bouquet Cakes. And she makes the most amazing cupcakes into, obviously, bouquets. And in the magazine, she actually submitted a photo, and it's this most amazing ranunculus, is it? The one that I showed you the photo of? Yeah. And it's just so creative. There's so much detail in it. And yeah, I showed my husband and he's like, that's not a cake. That's not a cupcake. It's a flower. Like, no, it's actually a cupcake.
You would never eat it.
No. So I think we should be getting her on Cake Camp, Lena, on our next Cake Camp coming up.
Oh, look.
Watching this, Maria, you might get yourself a teaching gig. Yeah, no, I think we have some amazing talent in Australia. I find it really hard to pinpoint. And I think because I'm not doing the baking side anymore too, like, I just think everything is so creative. I don't know. I do miss that side of my work now, not being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
My kids probably miss it too.
Yep.
Baking.
I feel like too, there's more. Like, there is so, I don't know if it's just like a thing on Instagram lately, but I feel like there is so much more out there than what there has been in the past. So many different styles. I just feel like it's kind of everywhere.
Very creative.
Yeah, and just so much to look at. So we've mentioned, like, Cake Camp, Cake Call, there's Business Lounge in the ACDN. There's now the Start Your Baking Business, which has just kicked off for new baking business owners, which is new for ACDN, I guess, and it's going to be awesome. Like, really, really clever idea, I suppose. What else have you got in the works? You're the ideas woman. I feel like you are the ultimate ideas woman who actually makes ideas happen. You know, like, some people,
I feel like I have way too many ideas and I need to rein the ideas in. I'm always coming up with ideas. And I think you're the one that probably cops it the most. Hey, Lena, I've got a really good idea. What do you think of this?
Well, but I have ideas, but I don't make them happen like you do. Like, you actually do it.
Yes. Some of them, yes. I actually have a little, I started having to write them down. I've got like a little spreadsheet of Liz's ideas. Some of them don't make them past the spreadsheet, which is probably a good thing. Some of them do come to fruition, which is probably a good thing. So to Start Your Baking Business is actually a course. I shouldn't even say this because I had started doing this like 5 years ago and didn't end up finishing it. I think everything now with COVID, everyone's a lot more happy to learn online. I had big reservations about running a course like this online before, but I think everyone's sort of, you know, familiar with Zoom now, and it's sort of, everyone's just used to it. So it does, the format does work really well now. Yeah, so I wanted to start that course because we get so many questions on how do you get registered, you know, what do you need to do with your council, what kind of insurance do I need, all that sort of stuff. And it's really important for everyone who's in the industry, myself, but also all the other business owners, that people who are coming into the industry are registered. They do have their council approval, they've got their food safety certificate, they've got their insurance, you know, making sure everyone's pricing correctly and knows what they're doing in that regard. I just think it's better for everyone in the industry. You know, people know how to do it. So yeah, I was getting lots of questions about that. So I thought I'm going to start that into a course. And yeah, we've had amazing positive feedback for that. Our students started on Monday, and it's a 6-week online course. So I'm going to run that twice a year, start and the end of the year. What was the question? Forgotten the question now. What else is coming up at ACDN?
No, that's all right. Yeah, what else is coming up?
Yeah, so we've got the 4 masterclasses that are coming up this year: the techniques, the foundation, start your baking business, and our new one. We've obviously got our business lounge and a couple of business challenges coming up this year. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get our events coming back. So yeah, well, as you know, since you are our event coordinator, yeah, we're planning our cake crawl for July this year. So that will be in Sydney. So fingers crossed, everything goes okay with COVID for many reasons, but also so that we can start holding events again. Yeah, and more events planned next year, and a few things up my sleeve that you know about.
Absolutely. And I'm personally hoping too that we have an awards night in person this year. So,
yes, I know, right? Yep, definitely. So it's Melbourne's turn. So hopefully fingers crossed, we'll have cake crawl Sydney in the middle of the year, and then Melbourne awards night, a big party.
Which will be awesome. Cannot wait to see everybody in real life. So
yeah,
it'll be super exciting. So okay, probably my next question then for you is, having 4 kids, and I asked someone else this the other day, what is your best tip for balancing your workload with kids and family and all of that stuff that you have to do?
That's my best tip: be as organized as possible. My best tip is probably getting some help. I think that ACDN really took off when I realized that I couldn't do it all myself, and that I needed some help just to outsource some of the things too. I'm a creative person, spreadsheets and admin and that side of it, like my brain doesn't compute with doing numbers and stuff like that. So I knew where my weaknesses were. I knew my strengths were more on the creative and coming up with new ideas and making those happen, but not on the background stuff. So yeah, I hired a VA who is probably the turning point for ACDN in terms of just making all of these ideas that I had actually happen. When I started to get some help in, I set up some proper processes, got organised. Yeah, and I was able to achieve a lot more things because I wasn't stuck doing the stuff that I'm not good at. Like I think probably my main tip would be work out what your strengths are, what areas you hate doing or you really struggle with, and maybe get some help in that. So whether it's doing your bookkeeping or, you know, your tax, or there's heaps of ways you can outsource. Get a cleaner if you hate cleaning the house, or I don't know, get your kids maybe into after school care one day and afternoon if that's going to help you, or get your husband on board to wash the dishes, like whatever it is, whatever you don't love doing and probably pulls you back. Mine was definitely the admin side of it. Outsourcing that and getting some help in that area. And it could just be small. It might just be doing your invoices or, I don't know, your bookkeeping, whatever. That would be my
absolutely. I find that that's probably a really common answer, is that because we're sort of on that creative side, we don't like doing bookwork. We don't like doing admin.
I think probably our whole community.
I struggle myself.
And then it's not that it doesn't need to be done, it just gets like, I've got a list here of stuff that I should have done 3 months ago and it's still on the list. All the fun stuff's done, but all the boring stuff's still on the list. So I think identifying what you just don't like doing, and if you can, trying to get some help in for that.
And so in addition to everything else, there's also like there's the Cake magazine, there is at one time there was Cake TV. There's also the monthly baking box. I've seen the videos of you packing boxes madly. I feel like a month comes around so quick.
I know, it does. Yeah. So we have our monthly baking box. Actually, I have one here. This wasn't planned, but I am doing a live with one of our. So every month in the baking box, which is this, it's like a shoebox size, pink sprinkles, of course. Every month we have at least one product, which is like the feature product, a small Aussie business. So I've got that because I'm going to do a live with our featured product this month. So every month we have our baking box subscription, and it's full of tools, new products, new things to the market, things to try, some exclusive products in the box, things that are made just for our box. So it's basically a little present to yourself that gets delivered every month. It's $45, which includes your postage anywhere in Australia. And it's a great way to try out some new tools and support lots of Aussie suppliers, find some new suppliers. Yeah, lots of great goodies in there. What else did you ask me about? Cake TV and, Cake Magazine. Yeah, so Cake Magazine, I think it's the 30th issue that I just published on the weekend, I think. Yeah, so I started Cake Magazine in 2013. It's a year after I started ACDN. Yeah, so 4 issues every year for the last 9 years. 30 something issues. Lots. So we've featured heaps of people from around the world in that. Lots of Aussie decorators and lots of internationals as well. Yeah.
I think the best thing about things like Cake Magazine is it gives maybe like unheard of decorators, particularly Australian ones, a chance, like a platform to maybe put together a tutorial or write an article or something like that they might just be, little Jane's Cakes working in Wagga Wagga or wherever they are.
Yeah, that's right.
It's going to give them that bit more exposure, which is awesome.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because we've had
the chance to interview some really great people and profile them from around the world, but also particularly around Australia, and that's what I love to do in it. For example, we just recently interviewed Kylie from Cake Decorating Central, who's the most genuine, lovely person you probably meet in the industry, and people like Mark from Custom Cookie Cutters. And I just love interviewing those types of people and getting their stories. Like Mark, for example, he's a great example of collaboration over competition. Like he produces lots of different cutters for different businesses that technically he could be in competition with, but he just has a really I don't know what the word is, like he has a really good approach to business and working together. And it's interesting, one of our psychologists was talking about this in the business lounge, getting away from that scarcity mindset and going to the abundance mindset. Like just because someone else is doing it doesn't mean that you can't do it. You should look at that as someone else is doing it, so therefore there's a chance that you can do it too. So I think Mark's got a really great approach to business in general, apart from the fact that he's a lovely guy. Shane doesn't know it, but if you're watching this, Shane, you're up next for an interview. I just love his creativity, and I hope he says yes now after this. I love his creativity. He's built an amazing brand, all just wrapped around customer service and awesome products and great service. And also his Colour Mill brand is just fantastic. And I love his approach to marketing, and he makes everything really fun and cool. People like Miranda from Sweet Sticks. She's just someone that I really admire in the industry. She's created some amazing products, done some amazing things, and she works with people all over the world, obviously, stocked everywhere. And she's just really inspirational to me as well. So I really like Cake Magazine because we get to feature all those types of people who, our readers probably buy from, but don't know the story behind it, or, how they got to where they are and what they're doing, and a bit of the behind the scenes. So it's really cool to be able to profile all of the people in Australia, particularly, that are doing really cool things in our industry.
Yeah,
so if anyone wants to be featured in Cake Magazine, please send me an email. Love to feature everyone.
I know, there's so many people to get around.
I know.
All right, well, thanks so much, Liz, for your time today. So if someone wants to join, I know we've got so many new members in the ACDN, so I'm really hoping that they start coming to events when events are on, so we can get to meet them in person. Because we do say in ACDN that we are a Cake family, and we do go a bit nuts when we get together and have a lot of fun. So I really hope that all those new members come along. I know in Sydney we had a really good turnout for lunch for Christmas last year, which was amazing to get to meet everybody. New members, if you're not a member and you want to join, how can they join?
So yeah, just go to the website, acdn.me, which obviously stands for Australian Cake Decorating Network, acdn.me. We are not just for cake decorators. We are definitely for the whole baking industry, cookies, cupcakes, macarons. Any cake decorator, baker, cookie artist, sugar artist, everyone in our industry. So I guess there's the different streams. The main one that most people join to start out is the membership. So there's the membership, which is the yearly membership. And then I guess from there, depending on what interests the members or where they're up to in their journey, there's like, the baking box that you can get, or you can do the courses, or you can go down the business lounge route and the workshops and things like that. And obviously Red Star Insurance offers the discounted business membership. So that's a really great offer too. So depending on where your listeners are up to in their journey in the cake decorating baking industry, I guess is where they would sort of slot into ACDN. We do offer things for all different skill levels. But if you go to the website, you'll see all of our offerings there.
Awesome. Thanks so much for your time today, Liz. I appreciate it. I'll talk to you soon, no doubt.
Thank you, no doubt. Thanks so much for featuring me on your new podcast. I'm very excited to be involved.
No worries. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.